Hello dears, and welcome back to my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon, and today I've got another book talk video to share with you guys. And today we are talking about All Fours by Miranda July. This is the first work of Miranda July's that I have read. I finished it about an hour ago, and I am empty. It took a lot out of me reading this. It was a journey that was a lot, in the best possible way. How these book talks work is I'll tell you about the book, give you like the synopsis, the basic plot points, and then I'll give you a warning, so if you want to get on out of here, you can. But if you've read the book already and you want to talk to someone about it, or you haven't read the book and don't really plan to, but are interested to hear some of the story, you can stick around and I'll tell you a bit about it. So, first of all, this cover is really beautiful. I love the colors. I love the cliff. I love the way the words are printed on there. There's something about the way it's so chaotic that is both chaotic but also strangely satisfying to me. Love it. This book is about a woman. She's unnamed, which I believe is intentional by the author so that you or I can imagine ourselves as this woman. She's 45 years old. Did I mention that already? She's got a husband named Harris, and they have a child together named Sam. And this woman is getting ready to go on a work trip to New York City. She's an artist. Her husband Harris is an artist, but they're different kind of artists, so they're never in competition with each other. I love how that was mentioned, and I think that's such an interesting thing to note. Anyway, one night after a dinner party, she decides that instead of flying across the country as originally planned, because she lives in Los Angeles, she's got to get to New York, she's going to drive. And so Harris helps her plot out her path, and she decides she's going to take 3 weeks, a week to get there, a week to get back, and then time to spend in the city. And she's pumped. She is pumped for it. And, she's sort of planning how it's all going to go. She's never done anything like this. She's excited for it. She gets on the road. About 30 minutes away, she pulls in to a small town to gas up and get some food, things like that. And then, as it turns out, she never makes it any further on this trip. Although she keeps telling Harris and Sam about her, the progress she's making every day. In truth, she's only 30 minutes away, holed up in a motel. So while she was there gassing up and eating, she met this young man named Davy, who she instantly becomes enamored with, and he with her. But she's married, of course, and she finds out he's married, and so they spend time together. But he's like, this can go no further because I'm married. But still, she just enjoys spending time with him so much that she stays put. And from there, the story becomes, well, first of all, it's told in 4 parts. The first 2 parts are kind of the chaotic exploration of fantasy and desire and wants. And then the second 2 parts are kind of the aftermath of that, and the way that she tries to work through her life and her wants as someone who is in or nearing middle age, sorry. And I loved it. It's a 5-star read for me. That being said, it's messy and it's uncomfortable and it's embarrassing at points. Like, there are points you're reading things that she's doing or saying or thinking, and you're like, oh, what? What are you doing? But at the same time, it's so vulnerable and authentic and real that even if the exact situations that she's in or taking part in you can't relate to, the humanness of it all, you can. Especially, I feel like I'm 42, about to turn 43 later this month. And I could definitely see myself in her in some ways, And that's the beauty of storytelling, isn't it? And this character, nameless as she is, will stick with me for a long time. I just know it. The way that I was, like I said, emptied of everything by the time I reached the end. It was incredible. It was incredible. I felt like the author was giving us her all, and in turn, I wanted to give it back, you know? And it was incredible. It was incredible. It's not going to be for everyone, but if it's for you, I feel like it's really going to be for you. And while this is the first thing I've written, here's my book that I've written. While this is the first thing I've read from Miranda July, I will definitely be going back and reading more things from her. And I feel like if you've read from her in the past, you would probably also really like this. I don't have any facts for that because I haven't read it, but I just feel like the writing style is probably similar because this seems like such a distinct writing style. So if you don't want any spoilers, you know the drill. You can come back when you read it. And if not, thank you so much for watching. But now let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. I'm not going to go into everything because it would take too long, but I'll hit some main points and we can talk about sort of the underlying vibes of it all. So one of the things that starts right off the bat, early in the book, and you're like, this is crazy. When she gets to that motel, she had recently gotten a paycheck for $20,000 from no work. Like, this whiskey company wanted to buy a line that she had written before. They paid her $20,000 for it. So she's got this money. She doesn't really have anything she needs to do with it. So she decides that if she's going to be staying in this grungy ass motel, she wants to renovate her room. So she hires this local woman who is Davy's wife, Claire, to come in and do it. And at first she gets there, of course she thinks she's going to be renovating the whole motel, but our main character is like, no, just this room. How much do you think that'll cost? The girl's like, I don't know, $17,000. And then eventually, because our main character knows, because of what Davy's told her, that they're trying to save up $20,000, she's kind of nudging this woman to like up it to $20,000 so she can feel like, I don't even know what she's doing isn't so bad because she's contributed to their savings by $20,000. Anyway, the room gets done. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I could see it in my mind and you just know it's perfect. And then she starts spending all this time with Davy. They go for walks, they eat, he confesses that the first time he met her, he knew who she was as an artist because she's semi-famous, and he knew right off the bat because he was a fan, but he kept that to himself. So he's like, as soon as I saw you, I knew I had to spend more time with you. And so they do, but they don't ever cross the physical line, although they definitely emotionally cross it. But, she's going through it. She's experiencing something, and she's trying to find what she's looking for. And throughout all this, she's making phone calls to her best friend. Her best friend's the only person that knows she's only 30 minutes away. She's got feelings for this younger man. And her friend's like, do you want to leave your husband? Like, is that what sort of you're building up to here? And she's like, no. I don't want to leave him. He's my rock. Got a good thing going. But I'm extremely interested in this man. So, after a while, so that's the first part of the book. Then the second part is her leaving. Going back, the 3 weeks have passed. It's time now to go back to real life. And when she gets back, she is a mess. She's a mess because she can't stop thinking about this man. At first, she thinks like, oh, we're going to be seeing each other all the time, probably. Like, I'll go and see him and we'll figure something out. But that doesn't happen. He's like, I can't be doing this. Like, we cannot be doing this. We have lives. We can't be doing this. And he doesn't even want to text or call. He's like, we can't be doing that. We have to cold turkey cut this off because this is nonsense. And so she's like, well, okay. But like, he's all she can think about. That's it. So she tries to go back to normal life. Her husband can definitely tell something's off, because it is. And, she's trying to be as normal as she can for their son, or their child, Sam. And eventually she goes back to the town because she wants to find Davy. She wants to entice him to consummate the relationship. So she does this whole video that she posts to Instagram, knowing he obsessively checks Instagram. And she's like, okay, I'm back at the hotel. He's going to see this video on Instagram, and he's going to come directly to me because he's going to know it's a message to him. But he doesn't come. Eventually she goes out walking around the town. She finds out he's moved. Him and his wife were finally able to buy a house, thanks to the generous renovation she had Claire do, and they moved to Sacramento. Gone. She's spiraling. She was walking around the town. She's like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So she finds this info out from this woman named Audra, who was a friend of Davy's mother, who Davy had a sexual relationship with when he was 18 years old. And she's much older. If our main character is 45, she's in her 60s. And this moment happens where our main character ends up being intimate with Audra, sort of in place of having access to Davy. This whole thing. Anyway, then she goes home again. Eventually, her and Harris have this blow up where she says things that she can't unsay. And he's furious. And over time, it takes a long time for them to finally get their bearings back. And it comes through in an unconventional sort of way. And then as time moves forward, they decide, okay, well, what if we open our marriage? What if, if you want to explore things with other people, he says, well, then that means I get to as well. And she's a little concerned about this because Harris is kind of a more traditional man, and she's worried he's going to instantly fall in love with somebody. He's not the casual dating type. And he does. He instantly finds himself a girlfriend, 2 dates in, and that's his girlfriend. So they're still living together, raising Sam, and although the intimacy has stopped, physical intimacy, but she kind of likes it because now she can talk to him openly and honestly in a way that she felt she couldn't before. And she really likes that. So she starts dating this woman, and that goes well for a while until it doesn't. And once we're in this part, we're really getting more introspection and more talking about where she is and what she's going through. And those were the parts I loved so much. So much. And at its heart, this is a story about so many things. So first of all, obviously, getting older, marriage, love, relationships, not just romantic relationships, but also friendship and all of the possible relationships you can have in your life, being a parent, being a child. It's also about, in a very interesting way, the trauma that some women go through during childbirth. And the woman in this book, she had a very traumatic birth with Sam. And while I definitely can't relate to that degree, I had a lot of difficulties physically after I gave birth to my daughter 20 years ago. I ended up having to have a C-section, and afterward the recovery was just up and down. It was not linear, and I had some scary moments. So I can relate to, obviously not to that degree, but I can relate to a difficult birthing experience. And there was just so much of it that was so relatable. Like I said earlier, even if the situations themselves aren't relatable, and you're like, I've never gotten into any situation like that, the feelings and the revelations and the truth about what it means to be a woman who is getting older in a society that is obsessed with youth. I think it's really, really interesting. I thought it was an excellent book. And I just, after reading this, I've got such a soft spot in my heart for Miranda July. I'm going to go now and look on YouTube and find any interviews I can find that she's done, just because I want to hear her talk about this book. Because I loved it. I loved it. It was beautiful. It was disgusting. It was heartbreaking. It was uncomfortable. And it was embarrassing at points. But you can't help but love a woman that's so raw and so real and so laid out bare in front of you. You just can't. Or at least I can't. So you guys, that's going to do it for me for today. What a wild ride this book was. I would definitely recommend it if this sounds at all interesting to you. And thank you so much for watching. I'll have another spoiler-free review coming up for you soon. Bye, guys.